What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host, Josh, and today we're coming at you with a little transfer rumor type of conversation. I wanted to go live with you guys just because mainly I wanted to see how you guys were over the Christmas break and just to chat. And there was also some pretty big transfer rumors that were coming out, so I just figured that it'd be a nice little opportunity to sit down with you guys and discuss them. So there's a lot that's gone on. We're going to touch on a few major points today, and like one realistic one that I would like to have a little conversation with you guys with. But the main one we're going to see and talk about is one that you currently see on the screen right now, and that is Mr. Julian Brandt. So a lot of you guys have probably heard this already and messaged us, and because I've seen it a few times as well, and that's the fact that Brandt has been linked to Arsenal. So for me, that is not a big surprise. I've had people reach out to me a few times and say mainly stuff like, Josh, he's our future. What do you think of this transfer rumor? And that's where I tend to disagree with some people that he's our future. The main reason I don't think he's our future, because if you look at the center attacking midfield position, we have our club legend as well as our skipper and someone who's always going to be at the top of the pecking order in Marco Reus. And right behind Marco Reus, we have Gio Reyna. And with Reyna, he is, in my opinion, the future of Dortmund. I know he's been playing out on the wing from time to time, but in my opinion, he belongs as a center attacking mid and will likely take over from Reus when the time comes. So that leaves Julian Brandt in a very awkward position because A, he's third, in my opinion, on the center attacking mid pecking list in a 4-2-3-1. If we, for example, play even in a 3-4-3, his best position would then be as a center mid, more of an 8. But if you then look at the amount of people we have in the midfield for just those two positions, we have 5, and then the 6 being Brandt with Chan, Witsel, Delaney, Bellingham, De Hood, and then, of course, Brandt for those two positions. But that's not even what we've been playing. We've been playing in the 4-2-3-1. And like I said, with Reus and Gio, the preferable options, that leaves Brandt having to play it on the wings or up as a false 9 striker, which we all know is not meant for him. So that doesn't surprise me that he's being linked away. He's been at the club now for 18 months, and he just hasn't really slid in and haven't really been able to break his way consistently in our starting 11. So that leads it up to a little conversation, and I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. As Agents has already said, yo. The Yellow Wall says, yo. Juan says, Brandt to Bayern, please. So Juan, do you want to elaborate? Why would you like to see Brandt go to Bayern? Is that just because you rate Brandt? Is it because he's German? Do you think he fits your guys' system? I mean, in my opinion, him going to Arsenal makes sense to me, just because Arsenal lack creativity, and it kind of makes sense someone who isn't quite on form, and I don't know. I feel like if you're looking at our Dortmund team and you're looking at a player who may be available and potentially able to pick off, Brandt seems to be the one in my opinion. Martar says Brandt is really taking a step down. Anyways, Brandt isn't a player with the potential of Reyna. And yeah, Martar, honestly that's a good opinion. I don't find that Brandt right now, because he's in his prime, but I'm saying that because he's obviously not in great form. But looking at Gio being 18 years old and having pretty much sky's the limit, and of course a club legend in Marco Reus, it's hard to justify getting Brandt in before those two. And it's just going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen with him, because a lot of people keep messaging me and saying, like, what other transfer targets should we do and come up with? And a lot of people forget that we don't have the money to do that. I'm not fully sure when the next opportunity will be for us to actually spend a little bit of money, but I've been saying it a few times on the channel, and I don't have a strict opinion on Brandt, but I just know that eventually when we're going to need to justify spending some money, we're probably going to have to sell a player. And in my opinion, on this current roster, Brandt seems the most likely. However, I don't know if I see him leaving in January. The reason that I can potentially see him leaving in the summertime is because then that gives us a lot more options, a little more time to address the situation. And like I mentioned to you guys, if we do sell Brandt, for example, right now in January, we would have, yes, a little bit of money to spend, but then we have to think about who we're spending it on And then knowing that another manager may be coming in a few months' time, is it really wise to spend that money immediately on a player that a future manager may not want? So it makes it a very interesting conversation, because I personally don't see him leaving just in general in January, but especially not on a loan deal. I've had a few of you guys reach out to me and say Brandt needs to go out on loan, and I'm just thinking to myself, why would we send him on loan? It's no different than what Schalke did with Weston McKennie. What is Weston McKennie doing Schalke any favors right now? He is getting better in Juve, so arguably they could have charged more for McKennie because he's doing so well in Juventus, but instead they got no cash up front. They loaned out on honestly their best center mid. He's overachieving in Juve, and you're going to only get that lump sum you agreed with. It doesn't make any sense to me to do that. That's why I don't ever see Brandt going out on loan, and I don't see him getting sold in the January window just to get funds that probably won't be spent till summer anyways because of the new potential manager. But that's what I wanted to see you guys come in and see what some of you guys had to say, because in my opinion, I in no way, shape, or form see Brandt leaving in general in January. Potentially in the summer, that's a whole different story, but I'm interested to hear what you guys say. Here says Haaland to Barcelona in 2021. No. Alex says, sell every BVB player in the summer, start fresh. Tired of this team and lack of motivation. Well, that's a bit of a stretch, Alex. I wouldn't sell every player. There's a lot of players on this team that are pure quality, but I mean, I think a refresh is definitely on the cards, but we're not going to sell off a lot of our assets. Like, I mean, Reina, Royce, Guerrero, Haaland, like Nkuku. We have a ton of talent in this squad, but we're going to have to definitely address some positions that are, in my opinion, pretty urgent. But that's when it becomes a little bit awkward right now, because we have a manager who we don't know if he's going to be our future or not. So it's hard to want to justify, especially with COVID, spending this kind of money on players that may not fit the current our future managers' kind of system and tactics. So it'll be interesting. Thomas says, tactical manager have a curse when streaming Man United games, they lose or draw, lol. Yeah, tactical manager keeps giving it a go, but he has not quite got there yet. I highly doubt either are leaving, but if Chelsea really want Haaland, we can swap Werner and Havertz, at least know them properly. Well, that's definitely a stretch. I don't think that's going to happen, but I will address, and we can move on to Haaland as well. I'll bring up an article that I saw from Haaland, because we can get into that one. But I definitely, out of the two, that seems the most likely. I absolutely don't see Haaland leaving. I don't see Haaland leaving for several reasons, but the main one is that he's actually relatively happy in Dortmund, and there's even an article that I can pull up for you guys about him talking how much that he enjoys Dortmund, and that he's living the dream right now, and he wants to win silverware here. Plus, like I've mentioned many times, that I think he's got a very planned out career right now, and I don't see him leaving Dortmund anytime soon, especially because he's in the form of his life. As well as Dortmund absolutely don't want to sell him, nor that we need to. But yeah, so I don't see that happening, but we see what you guys says. Injured Royce is better than Brandt. Fair, Matar, fair. And we got Nico here. Nico, you've been cracking me up on the Facebook page with some of the people's comments when it comes to the transfer window. So I'm very curious to see what you have to say today. You say, hi, Arsenal has big issues this season, so they are checking their options in the market. Brandt has not performed this season much. I guess he will stay this season, at least until the summer. Nico, I definitely agree. I don't see him leaving in January. I don't see us feeling obligated to sell him, like I just mentioned with the cash flow, and even getting a little bit of money for Brandt. I still don't think we'd spend it. So there's really no point. We need kind of bodies with this COVID pack season, so I don't see Brandt getting linked out and leaving this summer, but I do think that his future will be definitely up for debate in the summertime, because with the Euros coming up, and yes, the number one argument from Brandt's point of view would be that he would love to play at the Euros, and he's not getting the minutes to do so. I think it's going to be a very unlikely deal, if any deal could be made, to see him leave in January, and I think his future will probably be addressed in the summertime. I don't think that Brandt leaves us. He's a talented player. He needs a good manager that will give him new inspiration. And that's like the big debate I'm trying to solve, is that I do rate Brandt. I think he's a good manager. I mean, I think he's a good player, and I think that a good manager could bring his game to the next level. I just don't know if he'll get the opportunities, especially given the position that he plays. He's often forced into uncomfortable positions where he doesn't look very good. We all know what he's like on the wings and as a false nine. His best for us, in my opinion, when he plays in the 4-2-3-1 as a cam, and he's even put in some good efforts when we play in the 3-4-3 formation when he plays as an 8. But for the most part, he's been honestly a bit of a bust since coming to Dortmund, which is why he's being linked out the door, and which is why players like Brandt could be potentially going to Arsenal. We should only sell our older players this year. Anyone under the age of 27 by the summer needs to stay. Do whatever you can. Lucrative contracts, huge promises, new squad strengthening. Well, I don't know if I 100% agree with that, mainly because, like I said, Brandt is on decent wages. He is relatively, right now, a player who we could get a little bit of money for in the summertime if we're looking to move him on. And we may need that cash. We do need to address other positions. And if we're looking at a player that we have right now who, we have depth in those positions, it's going to be Brandt. That's why I think him getting linked out of Dortmund makes sense. I don't think it's going to happen in January. We'll see what Nico says. Haaland will not leave in 2021. He has no clause that is mentioned. He's very happy at BVB, earliest summer 2022. Nico, I absolutely agree. There is an article that I can pull up for you guys as well, just him talking about how happy he is at Dortmund. So I definitely don't see him leaving anytime soon. But it does raise some questions. I mean, it's always gonna. He's in the form of his career. The big boys are gonna come after him, especially Madrid can be one who's gonna be knocking on the door. But again, I do think that he's got a very planned out career, and I don't see him moving anytime soon because it's just gonna honestly throw his game off. He's in incredible form right now, and I want to see him keep carrying that on into honestly the next couple years with us. I'm hoping. Oh, and if we do sell Brandt to the club, should perform miracles, and we need to get Hakimi back. I would take Hakimi back in a heartbeat. He is doing some wonderful things over at Inter, but yeah, I mean, we definitely, in my opinion, we need a right back, but I told you guys that it's going to be very hard to justify getting a right back when we have Thomas Meunier on the wages he's on, as well as Paslak and Marai behind him. So I feel like if we're getting money from a player like Brandt, for example, we would be addressing the center back position probably first, because we've even shown that we're not interested in getting a backup striker. Brandt is not going to go to a relegation contending team. Well, I mean, the number one reason why Brandt would potentially want to move on, and I'm not saying I don't know him. I have not talked to Julian Brandt about this, but I mean, the Euros are coming up. He arguably for a while for Jurgen Love has been one of the first members on the team sheet. He's constantly been on the team, but he's not playing. He's not on good form. He's lacking confidence. So he just wants to play, and it makes sense going into the final stretch before the Euros. I just can't see Dortmund being willing to sell him or even loan him out, because he's got money that can be potentially available for Dortmund in the summertime when we can address some other situations. Chelsea is the most overrated club in the Premier League. Yes, they are honestly in a bit of a poor form as well. And yeah, I mean, I'd say they're pretty overrated. They spent a lot of money, and they should be doing a little bit better than sitting in 7th place, I believe. Eric says that people tend to forget that when the whole squad was struggling last season, Brandt was one of our best players. He just needs to recover his form and take some time, in my opinion. And I agree. I do think that he's had some good outings for us. And last year, when he was playing in the 3-4-3, playing in the number 8 kind of position alongside Witsel, he was very effective and a good player. I just think that he's completely lost his form this year. He's not getting the minutes, and there's question marks under him as well as even the team. We definitely need to address some other positions as well, and it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to be the one to go out the door, because someone in this squad is going to have to be sold if we're looking to get some bigger purchases down the line. George is here from Bayern Now. Brandt is a better manager than Terzic. Well, Bayern Now, this guy, we're going to skip over that. Dortmund should scout La Mesa in Barcelona to strengthen the youth academy and some new Latino heat. I mean, yeah, potentially. It's interesting to see who they do scout, and I mean, they have a certain type of players that they like to bring in. I mean, they have taken some Barcelona talent over the past, but I mean, it could be an option. I think Nico's going to elaborate on that. He did. He said we did that several times already. Sergio Gomez and Marai are from them as well. Yes, Sergio Gomez was one who was a bit of a disappointment. There was a lot of hype around him, and it just wasn't able to live up to the bar. We had too much talent ahead of him, and that's just sometimes the way it is. Well, let's check out Ajax. Onuna is a big player that we can get, and the Ajax wingers and midfielders are also pretty exciting. Yeah, Onuna is a great goaltender. I just don't think that, again, with COVID, I don't know how long that's going to last. I mean, it could honestly be seasons before we kind of have the financial security that we're very used to. So I think when we address positions in this team, we're going to have to be addressing positions that are honestly at the top of the list. I don't think Berkey throws up any huge question marks to try to replace him with Onuna, because Berkey doesn't have very high resale value, and Onuna will cost a decent chunk of change. So I don't see that, but yes, Ajax definitely got a lot of exciting wingers and players there as well. It's just when I'm looking at this Dortmund team, I mean, it's the back that I want to address a little bit first, but that's just my opinion. There's nothing wrong with obviously looking at wingers as well, because that is an area I do believe that we should target. And I did see someone mention good old Donny Malen, so we'll get into that soon. Agent says, I genuinely feel I know BVB will win the Bundesliga next season if Haaland and Sancho stay. Agents, that is quite the claim. I mean, I don't know. It's going to depend. Maybe when we get a manager in, who, in my opinion, more than likely is going to be Marco Rose, he can have just a new effect on the team, play their way, play exciting. I don't know. There's definitely a possibility. We have a solid squad. There's no debating that. It's just we've been very inconsistent and honestly have a bit of a leaky back, which is the reason why we are sitting in 5th place. I guess a good right-back signing could be Ricardo Pereira from Leicester. It could be, but like I mentioned again, I don't see us targeting a right-back anytime soon, especially because of Munier's contract. There's just, in my opinion, absolutely no way. Donald Duck in here and says that Dortmund players go into the Prem. It's rumors. It's rumors. In my opinion, I don't see either one of these transfers happening, especially in January. The Brandt one, in my eyes, could be likely in the summertime just because he may be wanting a fresh start. It hasn't quite worked out at Dortmund, but that's, in my opinion, we got Sancho Flow here. In my opinion, we need a new right back. We have 2 defensive right backs and an offensive right backs. Well, like I mentioned, I don't disagree at all. I would love to get a new right back in. It's just with our finances, there's no way to justify signing another right back. We have 3 right backs right now, and it's not going to work. It's why, in my opinion, you saw Meunier play every single week. They're just praying he can find a bit of form and justify signing that long-term deal on those big wages. But I don't think we're going to sign a right back, in my opinion, anytime soon. But you guys can definitely let me know if you do or do not agree. I think the center back, and as well as potentially a winger, will be probably high on our priority list. Should be going to Bayern instead. Brandt, yeah, that's what a couple people said so far. I don't see Brandt going over to Bayern, in my opinion. I think he's going to be going somewhere where he really hoping to fit in their system as well as get a lot of minutes. I don't think he'd get that at Bayern. Our playing style is perfect for Haaland. If he leaves, he will regret it. And Brandt is good. He just needs his form back. Yeah, I don't see Haaland leaving anytime soon. I see him just carrying out his career path the way that his agent and his father intended it to be, and potentially down the line moving on. But I think he is enjoying his time in the Bundesliga, and I can't wait for him to get back and firing because he's in tremendous goal form before the injury happened. And for Brandt, yes, I absolutely agree. I think Brandt is a very strong player. He needs to definitely rediscover some of his form, but it's just going to be very hard to do so because he doesn't get the minutes, and he never seems to me get played in the position where he can benefit from. What's the news on Malen? I have not heard anything from Donny Malen in some time. In my opinion, I mentioned when I did the video on him, is I see us targeting him in the summertime, mainly because I just don't see PSV wanting to give him up when they're in a title challenge, when he's arguably their best player this season, and they're even in the Europa League knockout stages. So realistically, he'll be a target for us in the summertime when we have a little bit of funds our way. I'm the guy that told you to sign Tammy Abraham on Twitter. Yeah, but I don't see us signing Tammy Abraham. Just I don't think he'll be someone who realistically fits what we need right now. There's nothing wrong with Tammy. I think he's a solid striker and he's doing well at Chelsea. But I don't really think Chelsea will be that eager to let him go, as well as I just don't see him going to the Bundesliga. But that's in my opinion. That is addressing our backup striker, which is, I mean, in my opinion, is going to be Donny Malen. I'm praying for the summertime that the new manager, whoever it may be, still sees Malen as an ideal solution to the wings as well as through the middle when we need it. Eric says, do you think that Hector Bellerin would be a good fit at BVB? Depends. In my opinion, I think Hector Bellerin plays better as a right wing back. I don't see us switching from a 4-2-3-1. I think if Marco Rose comes in, it'll be a 4-2-3-1. And I'm not really sure what Jesse Marsch would do. Jesse Marsch plays as a 4-4-2 right now, but that can be tweaked and adjusted into like a 4-4-1-1, 4-2-3-1 potentially. But I don't see us playing with wing backs, and Hector Bellerin, in my opinion, is more of an offensive type of wing back and just doesn't offer a whole lot that I don't think we could get over from Marai in a couple seasons. Yeah, it's less intense, but he really needs to step up, and he should come. If Haaland goes, we need a new striker that is elite level. Yes, absolutely we do. But again, I really, really hope that Haaland does not go. I really don't think he'll be going anytime soon. I really enjoy watching him play right now, and I think he really enjoys it. I think he's finding like comfortability now in the Bundesliga, and I think he's going to at least roll on for a few more seasons. And I'm excited to see what happens there. Nico says, do you know anything or have any thought on Julian Brandt, Manchester City, U23? Apparently, we've been linked today. Nico, honestly, I have not read that today, which is funny because I was just going through my BBB transfer news, but I have not seen anything on Jaden, so I'll have to take a look into that. If any of you guys know anything about him and want to put it in the chat, you can let us know, because I mean, obviously we get linked to Manchester City players from time to time. Nothing wrong with that, as we saw how good the last Manchester player we signed did. So I mean, I'm curious to see what happens there, and just let me know if you guys have any inputs on that, because it'd be interesting to see the type of players we are targeting. Because I really realistically don't see us signing anyone in January. I know that's not fun because transfers are one of the funnest parts of the game. We're sitting in 5th place. And Nico, I mean, you'll know about this, but on Facebook, there was a gentleman on there who kept saying that we are set for living as an average fan and not wanting to achieve anything, which is just honestly not true. It rubbed me the wrong way. That's not what's going on. He clearly just doesn't know enough about the team to actually put in a valid opinion, which is why Nico had fun correcting him a lot. But the finances speak for themselves. In my opinion, we're not going to sign anyone this January transfer window for many, many reasons. On top of that, like I said, even if we did sell Julian Brandt and we did have a chunk of change, I seriously don't think we'd spend it, because it's like with COVID situation, spending 20, 30, 40 million on a player, you need to make sure it works. And knowing that potentially a new manager is coming in, knowing that we just bought a player for 30, 40 million, and then they not fancy that player, puts us in a very awkward situation. Look at Christian Eriksen. Look at what he's living through right now. That's exactly what it looks like when you spend money on a player who you don't really need. And that's why he's been constantly been linked away from Inter since the second he moved there. Jaden would be an absolute steal. Sign him up. All right, we got a little bit of knowledge on him. I don't know much about Julian Brandt. I don't even know what position he plays. So if you guys want to enlighten me a little bit more, that'd be very nice. Donald Duck says, I was talking about Haaland going to Bayern. Don't worry, it'll be soon. Donald Duck, not a chance. Come on. If Brandt leaves us, I'm gonna be heartbroken. And yeah, that's been a lot of people's opinions that I've seen. I've had people reach out to me and say, you don't want to see Brandt leave, do you? And if you want my honest opinion, it wouldn't bother me if Brandt left, just because I don't see him getting the best career path sticking with Borussia Dortmund right now. Mainly because of the way that we play, and mainly that Royce and Gio are in front of him. We have a young 18-year-old player who sky's the limit, and he's tied down to a long-term deal, as well as a club legend. It's very hard to arguably want to put in front of that a player who's supposed to be in his prime, who's just not performing. So it will be very interesting to see what happens to Brandt. I do rate Brandt. I think he's honestly a great character. I just, for his own sake, I kind of hope that maybe he can find a place that he can find home, because right now at Dortmund, unless he drastically turns around his form, I don't see him getting the minutes. Nico says, I also don't think we will buy another right back. We have Meunier, Marai, and we cannot afford 40 million. Madrid wanted, and defensively we are better with our current players. Nico, that's very true. I absolutely don't see us targeting another right back. We can't justify putting that kind of money, tying them up into a right back. A lot of you guys know what happens when you sign a free agent like Meunier. That equals higher wages, and he's on a long-term deal. There's no feasible way we get another right back unless we're able to flip Meunier, which I seriously doubt we will. Bayern style doesn't work with Haaland. Haaland won't go to Bayern. Come on. Not a chance. He's going to potentially move on down the line, but I don't see it being in the Bundesliga. If you're going for my honest opinion, I could see him potentially going to Madrid. But again, I think in a few years' time, I do really think he's happy at Dortmund, and I don't think he wants to get in the way of his progress that he's made here. Luca, how you doing, my friend? Welcome to the chat, and let me know how your guys' Christmas was. I mean, it's been a few days since we've streamed. We didn't have any games coming on, so I figured with all these transfer rumors and stuff, it'd be fun to check in on you guys, see how everyone's doing. And yeah, if you want anything to happen that's fun for you guys over the transfer window or before the transfer window, let me know, and we'll move on. We should sell a player like De Hoot and Delaney, then we can think about Brandt, because he's definitely we need him in this bad season. Well, I definitely disagree on that. I would not sell Thomas Delaney. I think Thomas Delaney brings something to the team that no one else does right now. Dahoud, for my opinion, I thought we were potentially going to sell Dahoud before the season started. When we signed Jude, we didn't, and then, as you guys know, I was a big fan of Dahoud. Thought he played excellent in every game I've seen him in, but something is going on behind the scenes, in my opinion. I don't understand why he can't even make some of the game day squads, that he's not coming off the bench. So, I mean, yeah, selling a player like Dahoud actually kind of looks likely because he's not getting the minutes, and it's weird because he's on good form. I would absolutely not sell Delaney. And Brandt, like I've mentioned, he would be one of the ones, if we're looking to move someone on, that I would look at because he's valuable. He's not fitting the system, and I think that we could potentially reinvest that money in some positions where we actually could use the help. Who's your pick to become our next manager? That's a good question. You guys have known for a long time that I've said there's no specific person I desperately want and I think can change who this team is. But knowing our realistic options, knowing the current market, knowing who'd want to come, would be happy and could do a job, Marco Rose, I guess. I mean, I'd love to see Jesse Marsch come here, but I think Rose is a safer, more realistic bet, and I just kind of hope that his attacking philosophy could fit what we are at Borussia Dortmund. We are not using Brandt properly. I like Arsenal, so I would let him go. I think he would do well at Arsenal. I think Arsenal need that little creative outlet. Mesut Ozil obviously is a disaster. I think his contract's leaving soon. I could see them coming back for him in the summer window. I think he would address that issue for them, and I think he would get a lot of playing time. But yes, we are not using Brandt properly. And like I said, to be fair, he's played almost everywhere. Striker, center forward, left wing, right wing, center mid. It's just yeah, it's not a fit for him. He should be playing as a cam. That's what he's known for, even sometimes as a number 8. And it's just a shame. Dick should be promoted as a backup striker. For the senior team, he almost replicates Haaland in terms of size and speed, just needs to be more clinical finishing. Yeah, I definitely could see him getting brought up. I think that was a very cool and unique move to put him up and give him that shot in the cup, and I thought he did have a good outing. I think that with a little more finishing, he could have honestly banged home a couple. And yeah, he is exciting. He's something different. He was a lot bigger than I really thought he was going to be. So I think he's definitely someone, especially this season, that we can potentially use a little bit more because like I said, in my opinion, we're not going to be addressing anything and getting any transfers, which means promoting within is a realistic option. When Moukoko, Haaland need a little bit rest, he's a perfect solution there. And yeah, I absolutely rate that. Zork said we will not buy any player in the winter. And yes, I absolutely agree with him. I don't think that we will. I just... I don't want to come out here and see what you guys have to think about it. But no, I don't see us signing anyone. I mean, considering Zork came out and said that we are absolutely not, is kind of par for the course because I really didn't think that we were going to. The only realistic one would have been loan deals. But again, with finances and whatnot, it's just potentially not worth doing. That's why in my transfers video, I was going as realistic as I could, which is why I thought a loan deal for Origi or even Rudiger could be potential, but Rudiger's wages would throw anybody off, so I feel like we're gonna go with the team that we have, kind of like how we struggled with that last season under Peter Stöger, the last second half, and then we were able to actually pretty much start fresh with Lucien Favre, and with probably what we're gonna do with Marco Rose. What's your ideal center back transfer? Upamecano. I mean, if I'm being completely honest. Any of those Leipzig center backs, honestly, are fantastic. I'm trying to think who else I would potentially want to go for. I know there's a couple other names, but I mean, Upamecano ticks off all the boxes. He's big, he's strong, he knows the league. He's only got potential to get even better, but I don't see that as a realistic one because I just kind of see him potentially making the jump to the Premier League or even La Liga, but I mean, I would love Upamecano. I think he would fit in our team so well. I think we should let Sancho go and get a quality center back. Well, Sancho's future is definitely up in the air. It seemed to be decided in the summer, but there's obviously going to be some of the big Premier League boys coming back for him in the summer window. So I don't know. They definitely need to sort out his future. That's been a big hot topic for a while now. So seeing what they're going to potentially do with him is going to obviously justify our budget because I still think that they can get a lot of money for him. And yes, if I'm picking one position, we do need a quality center back. Center back like Upamecano would be absolutely perfect, but we're going to have to see who's available out there and who we could potentially realistically get. Would selling Brandt and or Dahoud? So would I sell Brandt or DeHood? Yes, I would. Again, I don't think we're going to sell them in January, just because there's no point in knowing that I don't think we're going to reinvest that money anyway, so we might as well hold on to a little bit of depth in the squad and hopefully start playing DeHood a little more. I've been preaching it for a long time. But in the summer window, yes, 100% I would potentially look to move on DeHood and Brandt, knowing that we potentially aren't using them the way that we should. Brandt, I think, could go to a big club and be a starting player and actually get that confidence back. I don't know exactly about DeHood because I've been impressed with his performances this season. It's surprising to me that he hasn't got more chances. And it's going to be very interesting to see potentially where he could go or what we're going to do with him. But I mean, I'm rooting for DeHood because he completely turned my opinion around on him, and I'm hoping for the rest of the season he can get some minutes. All right, where were we? Only center back that works for Dortmund right now is Marquinhos. I don't think there's a team that can offer more than PSG offers him. Marquinhos is a sensational center back. He's one of my favorite center backs. I would love him at Dortmund, but not realistic whatsoever. Upamecano or Konate would be ideal. Yep, would take both of them in a heartbeat. Oh, Luis, that's an interesting one. Andres Christensen would be a great transfer window because that he could help our defense in the present and future. Yes, and that's a good option, mainly because he's got experience in the Bundesliga under Borussia Mönchengladbach, where he was a standout player. He's not getting the minutes he probably wants and probably should get under Chelsea, so that is a realistic one, and I don't know exactly how he would do. But I mean, I'm talking about dream scenario, which is why I was saying Upamecano, but a realistic one, Andres Christensen isn't that hard to think about. Would selling Brandt and or DeHood and investing in a genuine number 8 to switch with Bellingham be a good deal? No. I wouldn't sell Brandt and DeHood and invest in another number 8, just because if we're looking at our squad and looking where the money should go, I don't think that's a very big one. We don't really play with the number 8 anymore. If we're going to play with the 4-2-3-1, we play with the number 10. We have Gio, we have Royce. That's our future there. And then that means we have 2 center defensive mids, which, again, we'll have 5 or even 4 without DeHood, but that still is a lot. You have Emre Can, you have Delaney, you have Witsel, and you have Bellingham. And Bellingham can play a little bit more offensively in that 4-2-3-1 if we wanted to. So that's not where I would look to put the money, but it is a good point. Upamecano, LOL, our highest transfer in was about 35 million. Upamecano is 60, not going to happen. Yep. Nico was very, very right. That is my dream, though. Like 100%, I think Upamecano would be such a good signing for us. But yes, he is unrealistic, and I think more than likely we'll go to the Premier League with the big bucks, or even potentially Madrid, Barcelona. But that's the Andreas Christensen would be a good one because he would fit that budget. He's, like I said, relatively young, good experience internationally as well as even locally within the Bundesliga with Gladbach. So I do really like that idea. I have to think about it a little bit more. Julian Brandt is a winger center forward. He has explosive speed and almost puts Haaland to shame. But he's more of a playmaker than a goal scorer. Okay, almost puts Haaland to shame, my friend. I'm not fully sure what you mean there. But I do like the praise on the young kid, which makes me very excited now that we're linked to him. So maybe I'll do a little bit more research and come up with a video for you guys on Jaden there because, I mean, from what you've said, that sounds pretty exciting. I don't know how old he is. If you want to let me know just to see kind of what we're looking for in terms of age, but I do like how you've rated him and compared him to Haaland like that. Braff would work with Haaland, especially with Sancho playing on the other wing. All right, so I'm guessing you're saying that Braff would play as a 4-2-3-1 on the left or right-hand wing position. Is Eriksen better than Brandt? I don't watch Inter. Christian Eriksen, in my opinion, was one of the best playmakers in the world when he was at Tottenham. He completely fell off a cliff at the tail end of his Tottenham career, made a jump to a system that would never, ever, ever work for him. I don't understand why he went there. He should have just saw out the rest of his career, the rest of his contract with Tottenham, would have let him leave for free, let him go to a team that actually could use him properly. He's been a bench player for Inter, so I would say Brandt and Eriksen are in very similar positions. They're both players who are not being used to their natural position, not being used enough, and are lacking confidence. So take your pick, honestly. I got a BBB SpongeBob Xmas shirt for Christmas. Ward, that sounds fantastic. I would love to see it. Luis says, Haaland did say he wanted silver with BBB, so we might be setting an eye for 2 more years. Yes, 100%. I really do think that Haaland will have a few more seasons with BBB. I don't think that he wants to leave anytime soon just because he's got some unfinished business here in the Bundesliga, and I do really think he enjoys playing here. Completed the jersey treble. Christmas sales are amazing. Fair. What? No games on? BBB played away against HC. We won 30-6 handball. You have to fill an empty stadium. That's funny. I did not know that. I did not know much about handball. I am not going to lie to you, but that's pretty cool. I should look into that a little bit more. When I was in Barcelona, I saw that there was a couple handball teams around Camp Nou, so that was pretty cool. But no, I'm in Canada right now, so right now with the Bundesliga being not on, I'm watching the World Juniors. So if there's any other Canadians, well, I mean, honestly, World Juniors could be anywhere. Russia, Sweden, Finland, wherever you guys are watching from. If you guys are watching the World Juniors, let me know, though, because I just watched Canada destroy Germany 16-2. Both of these rumors are genuinely the most dumbest rumors I've ever seen. Sort of. I sort of agree with you. I think the Haaland one's completely unrealistic for several reasons. That A, and the biggest and funniest one is, no offense, Chelsea, I don't think Haaland would want to go to you. I don't think that screams success right now. I really don't. I don't think Chelsea's in any comfortable position to be bringing home silverware. I could see him going to a team that could potentially win something. And again, no offense. But the Brandt one, in my opinion, is a little realistic just because his situation, the position that is at the club behind a couple of players who will get more game time than him, and that we will need some money. But again, I don't think it will be addressed until the summertime. But in my opinion, looking at two players that stand out that could leave Dortmund, it's Brandt followed by Dahoud. But that's, again, in the January transfer, or not in the January transfer window, in the summer. No one is going to come or leave BVB. I agree. I know it's so unreal what I was going to say, but I really want to get low in. You want to get Jurgen Love as the new Dortmund manager? My friend, not a chance. JJ Maddox at Dortmund would be very good. The kid is 20 years old and is the next Mexican sensation. I've heard his name brought up to me quite a few times, and again, I haven't done my research on him, but a few of you guys have messaged me on Twitter saying to check this kid out, so maybe I need to do that when I get off here because I need to understand what you guys are saying, Luis, but thank you for pointing that out. Is it allowed to promote players from U23 to U21, etc. mid-season? Yes, absolutely it is. Nico addressed that. Yes, it is. We don't have a U21, U23, aka BBB2, and the U9 team. But yes, as long as they are 16 years old and can play for BBB for international games, and the player needs to be 2 years at BBB. Nico, that's good information. You're right on the ball today. So yes, I mean that's why we've definitely called up players like Ansgar Knopf. He's one who I was very impressed with in the preseason, but probably saw that his opportunities up with the big boys would be very scarce, which is why that he kind of goes back and forth, as well as obviously Mukuku. The second he turned 16 was up with the big boys. He'd been training with us before he even turned that. So Maddox is a really good, nice suggestion. And again, I do need to do some work there because I don't know him too much. What's your history in becoming a fellow BBB fan, if I may know? Well, Julian, I will be doing actually a video on it soon. I know a few people reached out to me and wanted another story as to what led me to become a BBB fan and just kind of talk about the channel. So that should be a cool video coming up for you guys. But I can give you a little background about it. I mean, Luca, if he's in here, he likes to make fun of me about it because I give this little sentimental story, but it is honestly the truth. I mean, I live in Canada. There's no one around me whatsoever who can talk to me about football, so I just kind of always kept my opinions to myself and just went on following the boys, as well as many other leagues around the world. But I was playing like FIFA 2006, really liked their logo, started doing career modes, manager modes. Once I was able to start streaming games in like 2009, 2010, I started watching them pretty consistently night in, night out. And I've been watching them for pretty much every game for over 10 years now. Wanted to see other Dortmund fans and created the channel. It's got a lot of good feedback so far. We're only a couple months in. We have over 1,000 subs. We still haven't got the community board, which is ridiculous. We should have got that at 1,000. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but they're taking a break. But once we get the community board, I can actually talk with you guys on a daily basis on that community board. I don't know why it's not in, but yeah, so I've been in love with them as long as I can remember. It's been quite a roller coaster ride for a lot of us BBB fans, and I even got the honor to go to the Westfalen and watch a game there when we played Frankfurt in the 2018-19 season. So probably the coolest thing I've ever done. Would love to go back once COVID is obviously done, and potentially even do a little link up with some of you subscribers out there, and hopefully have some fun in Germany. Dennis Zachariah from Gladbach would be a perfect fit, and the double pivot role, plus he's versatile too and can play as a center back, 2 positions covered with 1 high potential player. Just a suggestion. That is a good suggestion. I think we have been linked to Zachariah. I don't know how legit they were. They were rumors that happened months and months ago, but he would be a solid player to add, no question about it. But again, because of this COVID season, because of the scarce finances, there's only a select few players that I can actually realistically see coming to the club. I don't see a right back. I don't see a center defensive mid, even a center attacking mid being priorities, mainly because I think it would be a winger or a center back. And potentially a left back if we shift Schultz, which I definitely don't think we're going to do. Braff is 18 years old. All right. So I definitely need to check him out. Zorc should just play Football Manager 21 and sign the U20 players based on that. Now. I don't want to diss our recruitment. We've done a very good job of that over the years. Liked your answer about Brandt, Dahoud out and another center mid in, but don't you think that playing with 2 CDMs has cost us games with Bellingham can't start every game? Bellingham definitely can't start every game, but I don't know ideally what has caused it. I mean, the mix-up a lot of the times between the center defensive mids and the center backs have been an issue for us, but I just don't see that happening where we're going to spend the money as another number 8. I think that we need to sort out the players that we have. I think Jude's only going to get better, and I'm happy with it. We've had injuries as well. I think Thomas Delaney, again, can really solidify that center defensive midfielder position as long as he gets healthy, and then you can have a player like even Chan or Bellingham alongside him. That's where I'd like to see go. I constantly say Dahoud and Bellingham are the way to go going forward because I've been impressed when they play together, but clearly not the case. But it is a fair point, and our CDMs as well as our center backs have not been in excellent form of recent weeks. But I don't see that just being enough for us to put that kind of money in a position like that. FIFA 21 career mode. We were gonna try to get on it. We are definitely gonna try to get on it. We're gonna hopefully stream it with you guys just because it's funner. I like chilling with you guys here and talking. So we are looking to get a final little piece of equipment that we need, and then we should be able to stream it for you guys. Otherwise, I can keep tossing up videos, but I just think it'd be funner to play alongside with you guys because I haven't played a career mode in many FIFAs, but we did start the one. We're 3 episodes in, so if you guys haven't checked those out, you can find them on the channel, but soon. I'm going to say, hopefully sometime this week we'll be able to figure it out. I feel like Emery Chan is a center back, CDMs, CMs, center attacking mid, center forward. We can just depend on him, play a 4-man team. In my opinion, Emery Chan should play as a CDM, and that's about it. I haven't been thrilled with him playing as a outside center back. I feel like he has had a couple good games, but he's way too inconsistent. He doesn't have, in my opinion, the calmness to play in that role. He gets very agitated. That's the way he plays. I've seen him give away stupid fouls that's led to goals. So I don't know. I've never been impressed with him as a center back, but I do like that he brings that in the midfield. It's a little bit more safe to bring that, and I think that's why partnering him with Delaney, for example, could give him a little more freedom and not be so worried about making a mistake. But that's just my opinion. Hello, friend. How are you today? With Chelsea having Timo Werner, I doubt they would spend 100 million on Haaland. Well, that's another good point. Timo Werner is looking like a bust there, though, which is going to make a lot of you guys happy about that. But no, I don't see them having. Well, I do. I mean, the Premier League clubs have a lot of money, but I don't see him coming in because they have Tammy up there. They have Timo who can play as that striker. They have Giroud as well. Plus, I don't think that Haaland's super excited about potentially going to Chelsea. That's not the team that I'd want to go to if I was leaving Dortmund. I think that he's comfortable here, and that's not realistic. But it's a transfer rumor that was a big one, so I wanted to address it with you guys. But a lot of you guys' opinion is very similar to mine. For your next video, you should do some research on Jaden Braff and Maddox. Yes, I should. 100% I should, and I probably will because, they've been mentioned to me. Well, Maddox has been mentioned to me probably 5-6 times, as well as just getting generally just tagged in on like Twitter and Instagram, and I need to put a little effort in and figuring out who this kid is, as well as Jaden Braff, because I've just been mentioned about him today. So it'd be kind of interesting for you guys to do a little bit of research and dive into it together. I feel like people forget Zagadou exists, and he's fit and ready to play again. That is true. I don't do enough conversation about Zagadou. A couple people messaged me and said, "Do you hate Zagadou?" I'm like, I don't. I definitely don't hate Zagadou. Not at all. I do think that when he's came on this season, I've actually been very impressed with him. So I just think that it's gonna be one of the either Akanji or Hummels is gonna have to pretty much give up their spot for him, and more than likely it's going to be a Kanji. So I would be curious to see how that Zagadou and Hummels relationship can blossom and see if Zagadou takes over from Akanji. But it will be interesting. But I do, not only me, but I do find people do forget about Zagadou, and I'm hoping he can come back as well. What achievements would get Terzic to become permanent coach next season? Do you think second in the league, DFB final, or a UEFA Champions League semi could? That is an excellent question. That honestly is an excellent question, and I honestly can't tell you what that answer is because I don't know much about Edin Terzic yet. I know that I know what everyone reads about him, and I know that he's been in charge for a couple games. Hasn't overly impressed me, but hasn't really disappointed besides like the Union game. But I don't put that on Terzic. I think that realistically, if I would sit down with the board and be like, hey, this was incredible, I can't believe you did this. Yeah, it would be catching up and finishing second. I would say winning the DFB Pokal and then a Champions League semifinal. That's what I would say would get him a full-time job. But again, I mean, because of COVID, he may get it regardless. But I do really think realistically that Marco Rose will be the guy. But I have no problem rooting for Terzic and hoping he can pull some stuff together. Brandt in a swap deal with Saka. I know it's not realistic, but it's a dream transfer for us. Yeah, not realistic at all. No way. Just because I mean he's a homegrown boy. Those mean a lot to the Premier League clubs because they don't have a lot of them. But I mean he would be relatively decent out on the wings. Again, it's something that I would not see. And yeah, Saka would never leave Arsenal. He's a North London boy. That is very true. That's why I said it's not realistic. I agree with Zagadou. He is a beast. I really hope he gets more time on the pitch. Me as well, Nico. I think that every time he's come off on the bench, as well as now his first start since he's been back, he's just a big presence. He's a big man. I think over time he's going to get better and better. He's still very young, which is why, if you guys remember, a couple times in that season where we almost won the Premier League, he did make some mistakes, but it's expected when you're so young and you have this kind of talent, just raw talent that happens right away. So I'm hoping with a little bit more time he can get better and better, and especially learn from players like Hummels. I think would do him very good. Sorg should do a FIFA career mode and look to buy players on there. Not fair. They should join a big team like Bayern. We're going to roll by that. I don't think Terzic can do much. I have the feeling a new coach is already signed. Nico, that's not bad. I have that kind of back feel as well. Like when I know we used to be linked with Favre. I know that Dortmund wanted Favre before we signed Peter Bosz. We weren't able to get him, but those conversations were always happening in the background because of his contract at Nice. And I do kind of have that feeling too, where it doesn't matter what Terzic can do because the agreement's pretty much already in place. But nothing's official yet, so you never know. But I mean, yeah, if you're twisting my arm, ask me right now, I'm saying that more than likely it's going to be Rose starting as in the dugout for us next season. Dortmund should sign Chelsea academy players. Just look at Musala and Eri MB with Bayern. Yeah, Chelsea has had some good talents, and most of those good talents have left the club to find success elsewhere. Declan Rice is another good example. I humbly disagree with your opinion on Cham as center back. Generally, Chan has been the most consistently good player, and other than Haaland, he's spent at least 50% of his career as a center back. Yeah, no, and everyone's obviously entitled to your own opinion. I would not judge that at all. I'm just telling you what I see, and he has had good games. And to go off of your point, we had 4 clean sheets in a row, potentially 5. I can't really remember off the top of my head. In a row, and that's when Chan and Hummels had a beautiful little partnership brewing in that back 3. I just think over time, the more Chan plays as in a very vulnerable position, he's tend to make mistakes. That's, again, just my opinion, which is why I'm a little more comfortable with him as a center defensive mid. But I definitely agree with you in the fact that I know he can put up good performances as a center back because he has done it. We kept 4 to 5 clean sheets in a row, and it mainly became because of that back 3 that had Akanji, Hummels, and Chan in it. So yeah, he does have potential. It's Chan. I just think he's just got a little bit too much aggression to be able to pull off playing as a full-time center back. Musala better than Haaland. Honest BBB fan. Again, we're gonna have to roll over that. You can't be a BBB fan if that crosses your mind. Sounds like a troll. It is a troll. Our best player is Rafa. He is our playmaker. When he's in form, we play good. When he isn't in form and when he's missing, we are bad. Yes, Rafa is fantastic. Guerrero, I loved watching him play last season with the 3-4-3 formation because I think it's so incredible watching a left wing back come into the middle of the park, pick up the ball, have these tight, close, intricate passes with players and just open space for himself. And yeah, I don't know. I think he's the most underrated, one of the most underrated players in the world, if I'm being completely honest, because he's just so good at what he does. So I was a little nervous when we went back to the 4-2-3-1 because it restricts him a little bit, but he's a good enough player. He does it in Portugal, and that's why we obviously see him still being successful playing as a left back. I'm here from George, so that makes sense. How good is Emre Can as a center back option? I mean, he's not a bad center back option. Like I mentioned, I think he's safer to play as a center back when it's a back three. I think that puts a little less responsibility on him, and that's why we've seen some of his better performances like that. I really don't fancy him as a center back in a 4-2-3-1 formation. Again, this is just preference on my part. I'd much rather Zagadou, Akanji, or Hummels in that formation. But if we're gonna play in a 3-4-3, I don't mind him on an outside center back, but I'd prefer him in the midfield. BVB should BVB have tried harder for Pochettino, in my opinion? Maybe, but again, it's not realistic just because of the German. If I'm being completely honest, I've talked to a lot of people about it, and they've pretty much said that the main reason that Pochettino, Allegri, those kind of managers aren't getting looked at is because they can't speak the language, and that's a big thing as to what would link a manager to Borussia Dortmund, which is why I think Jesse Marsch is a pretty cool one. The fact that he can speak German as well. He's American and has done some wonderful things, and why Marco Rose is the favorite. But I mean, I would have potentially liked to see a Pochettino and Allegri come in, but it would never happen, which is why I'm just wasting my breath talking about it. Dortmund should sign Gabriel Veron. Well, tactical manager is a big fan of his young boy there, and yeah, I mean, he's a winger, he's talented, he's Brazilian. I love me some Brazilians, so I would definitely rate that. If you guys want to check out a Gabriel Veron video, you can go over to Tactical Manager's channel and check it out there, because he did Tactical Manager, I don't know, did I misspeak? I think you've done one on Gabriel Veron. I thought you did, and then you told me you didn't, then you said you were going to, so I don't know. Either way, he's a great player. He plays for Tactical Manager's club, so definitely check that out. Hey, Tactical Manager. Polish would have been cool, but too expensive, no German language, and poor English, and honestly, BBB is not the league where we are not big enough. Well said, Nico, well said. I feel like players like Hazard, Dahoud, Zagadou are the most underrated players in Dortmund. I think Dahoud honestly just has a question mark over him. I think Zagadou, I think he hasn't hit his potential yet. I don't think he's underrated. I think Hazard and Guerrero, in my opinion, are the two most underrated players, because I think they can bring so much to this team. Not happening. Would it be better to have a 3-4-3 with Witsel, Bellingham, and Dahoud in the midfield? No, I've contemplated switching into a 3-4-3. The only reason I could ever see it working is our strikers have to all be out. It would kind of line up like a Napoli-Liverpool. We'd have to have a false nine, and it would be Royce. So a way I would see a 3-4-3 work would that midfield, like the usual back four. That midfield is fine, having Bellingham and Dahoud as our center mids with Witsel as a CDM. Could be Delaney as well as a CDM, and then having Royce as a center forward playing at the Roberto Firmino and Dries Mertens role, and then having one of the wingers either being Gio or potentially even Sancho, whoever, maybe Hazard. The number one reason I don't see a 3-4-3 working for us is because we like playing with a center attacking mid, and going out of that formation puts Royce and Gio kind of in the air. I think Gio's done exceptionally well adapting and being able to play out on the wings, but I still think he's a natural center attacking mid, and that's more than likely where his future is going to lie. Do you think Favre this season had made some teams attack too Haaland-centric, and that costed the team after his injury? Yes, I think that Haaland had way too many minutes in the season so far, which led to him getting the injury. But again, it's one of those things. I don't blame Favre from that. When the kid's in this good of form, I'd want to get him to start every single game he possibly could as well. But yeah, I didn't like with Favre was the lackluster attack. Last season it was so dynamic, the way that Sancho and Hakimi played with each other and just led an open space, and it was just simple tap-in goals that were, in my opinion, fantastic to watch. And this season there was no build-up play. We played with it a little too much, and it was mainly Haaland saving our butts with eventually down the line after playing with the ball for 75 minutes, being able to break them down like that. So it was hard to watch from time to time. But yeah, there was a lot of reasons why Favre didn't quite work out. Which team is tactical managers? Manchester United and Palmeiras, as well as Orlando City, are tactical managers. Do you think that Bellingham would be a better box-to-box? He's very good. just outside the box. I've had subs reach out to me and say that he's actually a very good outside midfielder. He can play as a center attacking mid. So, I mean, I think he's a decent holding midfielder. But yeah, in my opinion, I think he could potentially in a 3-4-3 work very well as a box-to-box. But I just don't see us switching into that, which is why I think he's trying to make do with what he can as a center defensive mid, but a little more attacking-wise. Dortmund should have a limit of 50 million transfers for this window. They have $0 for this transfer window. They will not, in my opinion, be signing anyone. I don't see it being realistic. And like I said at the beginning, even if they sold, for example, Brandt, which they honestly aren't going to do, they would have a little bit of money, but I don't see them spending it because they're going to want to let the new manager coming in, who I think is going to be Marco Rose, have the final say of probably where that money should go. Do you think one of the reasons behind Sancho's drop in form is the absence of Hakimi? They ran riot on the right wing and had many goals and assists last season as a pair. 100%. I think we didn't really understand the kind of wavelength those two were on. They were, in my opinion, those two and Guerrero were my favorite players to watch last season by far. I know Haaland put a lot of balls in the back of the net. He had some good ones. A lot of them came just in tap-ins and just Hakimi, Guerrero, Sancho putting the ball on a plate for Haaland. So yeah, I definitely think that's affecting Sancho, but I think there's a little bit more to it that I don't think any of us will understand. My dream coach is Mourinho. Yeah, I've had a few of you guys reach out to me and say Mourinho is, but that more than likely won't happen. Says Luca, we have a limit of about 0. Yes, we do. Should Dortmund have bought Hakimi this summer? 1,000%. Not even a debate in it, but we did not have the money to do so, which is what Nico just alluded to as well. So yeah, there we go. And as well, for you guys who don't know, that Thomas Tuchel is available. It's a joke. I know it's not going to happen, but you let me know quickly if you guys would take him back or not. I know that there's so many reasons. There's probably 100 different reasons why that would never, ever, ever happen. But he did do a good job in Dortmund, but there's just too much chaos with him. And I thought it'd be fun just to mention it. But yes, Tuchel will not be coming back, but he is a very, very highly sought-after German manager, and I'm very curious to see where his next step would be. I think Hakimi is a great right wing back, and the closest to him is Jesus Corona, who would have fit the right back if we look for one. And yeah, that's interesting because Corona started out as a winger, and just I don't know if Porto needed him to just adapt into a right back. I'm not really sure where exactly that went for him, but he has turned into a very, very solid right back. I wouldn't personally sign Corona. I think Hakimi is a much better player, but I miss Hakimi. I do. You guys know that. Oscar would take back Tuchel. No, because I don't like bullies. Totally fair. Would have Dortmund been able to buy Hakimi if they didn't have signed Meunier and Bellingham? I mean, if we're looking just on pure numbers, yeah, probably. I don't understand exactly why Hakimi wasn't a priority, but I mean, we dropped 25 on Bellingham. Meunier was free, so I mean, I don't know. No one will really know, but it seems likely if they really wanted to get the Hakimi deal done, they could have. Should Reina start as a cam and Royce as left mid? No. I think if both of them are in the starting 11, Royce has to play as a center attacking mid, and Gio has to play out on the left. I think that Gio is showing that he can play as a winger, which is very impressive to me because I wasn't sure if he was quite able to do that. And Royce, in my opinion, is just much, much better as a center attacking mid, and he's finding a bit of form as well, which is fantastic. So with that, though, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap up our little transfer talk. It's very nice catching up with all you guys and hearing how you guys have been over the holidays here. We're going to try to get a couple more videos out as quickly as we can, potentially the FIFA one for Juan over there. But more than anything, I'm just excited to get back for our watch along with the Wolfsburg game. So until next time, everyone, I hope you guys, if you haven't already, like the video, comment, and if you're new around here, subscribe, and we